All right, today we're tackling the computer system. Now, we all use these things constantly, right? But how do they actually work? That's what we're going to break down today. We're going to take this super complex machine you've got and make it, well, surprisingly simple. So, let's really think about this for a second. Have you ever wondered what's really going on inside your computer when you, say, click the mouse or just type a key? It feels like magic, doesn't it? It seems so complex. But I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to see it's all surprisingly logical. Okay, so here's the secret. The absolute simplest way to wrap your head around a computer is to just think of it as a person. Seriously, once you start seeing it that way, everything else just kind of clicks into place. All right, so let's run with that idea. We're going to start with the two sides of a computer, its body and its mind. Just like a person, right? You've got these two fundamental parts, and they absolutely have to work together. So on one side, you've got the hardware. That's the computer's body, right? The actual physical stuff you can touch and see, your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse. And then on the other side, you've got the software. That's the mind. It's all the intangible instructions, the thoughts that you can't touch, but that tell the body what to do. And you know what's cool? This isn't just some clever analogy we came up with. The source material for this explainer actually uses this exact metaphor. It says the physical body, that's the hardware, and the human mental activity, that's the software. It's just a perfect way to picture how these two halves have to work together. So, just to be super clear, hardware is anything you can physically poke. That monitor you're looking at right now? Hardware. The mouse in your hand? Hardware. The printer, your flash drive, you get the idea. Think of it as the bones and muscles of the whole system. And the software, well, that's the mental activity that makes that body actually do something. It's your operating system, like Windows or Android. It's Microsoft Excel. It's the apps on your phone. You can't physically touch an app, right? But you can sure see what it's thinking through the hardware. Okay, so every person has a body and a mind. But what's in the middle? A brain, right? Something to do the actual thinking and deciding. Well, a computer is no different, and that brings us to the absolute heart of the machine, its brain, the central processing unit, or as we all know it, the CPU. The CPU is the real deal. It's the control center that executes the programs and basically makes everything happen. In this little brain, it's actually made of three really important parts that all have to work in perfect sync. First, you've got the control unit, or CU. This is like the director of the whole show. It looks at the instructions coming from the software and then tells all the other hardware components what they need to do. It's the boss. Then you've got the arithmetic and logic unit, the ALU. This is the brain's calculator. I mean, it's incredibly fast. It handles all the math, like addition and multiplication, and all the logic, like, is this bigger than that? Every single thing your computer does, no matter how complicated it seems, gets broken down into these tiny little problems for the ALU to solve. And number three, we have the memory element, which are also called registers. The best way to think of these, it's the CPU's personal little scratch pad. While the ALU is busy crunching numbers, this is where the CPU scribbles down its temporary results, just so it doesn't forget them. And again, the source material just nails this. It says the memory element is likened to a scratch pad that you use while solving a mathematics problem. I mean, it's perfect, right? You solve one part of the equation, write it down, then move to the next. That is exactly what's happening inside the CPU. So let's put it all together. The brain's formula is simple. You take the control unit, the director, add the ALU, the calculator, and the memory element, the scratch pad. All three of those working together, that's what makes up the CPU. All right, so we've got a brain, but a brain needs more than just a little scratch pad, right? It needs to actually remember stuff. And yeah, you guessed it, just like us, a computer has both short-term and long-term memory. Okay, so first there's main memory, which you probably know as RAM. This is the computer's short-term memory. It's what the computer is actively thinking about right now. It's super fast, but here's the catch. It's volatile. That's a key word. It means when you shut the power off, poof, it forgets everything. Then you have mass memory, or your storage drive. This is the long-term memory. It's where all your files and photos live. It's a bit slower, but it's non-volatile. It remembers everything, even when the power's off. So now that we know where all this information lives, let's talk about sizing it up. We need to learn the language of data, how computers actually measure all this stuff. It all starts with the smallest possible piece of information, a bit. It's just a single 0 or a 1. That's it. Now, if you take a group of 4 of those bits, that's called a nibble. Kind of funny, right? And if you take a group of 8 bits, you get a byte.
And a byte is really important because that's enough space to store one single character, like the letter A.
And from that one little byte, the numbers just get huge. A kilobyte is about 1,000 bytes. A megabyte? A million. A gigabyte? A billion. And it just keeps going. I mean, today we talk about terabytes, which are trillions of characters. And big data centers? They're dealing with petabytes and even exabytes. We're talking about numbers so big they're hard to even imagine. The amount of information these digital minds can hold is just mind-blowing.
So let's recap. A computer has a body, its hardware. It's got a mind, the software. It has a brain, the CPU. And it has both short-term and long-term memory. I mean, the whole person analogy holds up pretty darn well, doesn't it? Which leaves us with a really interesting question to think about. If a computer has all these parts that are just like ours, what comes next?